So how do you establish a fellowship? Do you just call the school and tell them, "Hey, I'm interested in this topic and let's work together"?
Well, obviously, a little more complicated than that. I guess I kind of challenged them a little bit that they needed to think about this. This was nobody likes to be told that they're that they're missing an area of emphasis that's important. But I think that it was an interesting transition program. I talked to Dean Cogram about this before he left. He was interested, and to be honest, I was a little reluctant when I knew he was going to leave. I wanted to see, if the new sheriff in town is he or she going to be interested in this at all. And I'd have to say, much to my glee, if you will, that Dean Charla is very interested in this, and I think that she was really excited. I think this whole process benefited from the fact that she had been around for a while and also had some interaction with some of the schools and departments at ASU. So, for instance, I'm not sure that your average Thunderbird understands that ASU has a School of Global Futures that includes a sub-department of the School of Ocean Futures. And I'd have to say that when folks understood what I was trying to do across the both institutions, that there got to be a lot more excitement about this. Because I think the Ocean Futures people, they've kind of been focused on, I think, more of the environmental issues, but they understand this is really important. And I think that I hadn't had any conversations with Dr. Crow, but I have read some of his publications, and I understand that I think he is very interested in this as well.
Excellent. Let me just double click on something you mentioned. You mentioned blue economy. What is it and why is it important for you?
Well, I think part of the problem with blue economy, and this is actually a challenge that I laid out for Thunderbird that they need to work on. I mean, if you get 30 so-called experts in a room, you're probably going to get 45 different definitions of what the blue economy is. So I have to be a little careful. I'm not an expert in this area at all. But for me, it involves all the aspects of the oceans in terms of its economic productivity. And for instance, ocean mining, exploitation of fish stock resources, also the technologies that are involved in all of this stuff. I have a big fear, if you will, that for instance, the minerals that we know exist in the ocean at the bottom of the sea, I don't want this to be exploited by basically a giant vacuum cleaner going down and sucking everything up. And I think we both been around the world long enough to know that when things are being exploited, the people doing the exploitation often are using the cheapest, easiest method to do it. And it's very, very interesting that, and this touches on the law C aspect and why this is tied in there, is there's very few, you know, there's nobody's going to go out and fight for against somebody vacuuming up the sea outside of their own territorial area. So I think that, while there's laws, see agreements, some countries belong, some don't. I'm not particularly comfortable with the fact that private enterprise is going to basically adhere to those things unless the nation states enforce them. So that's why this is all kind of tied in there. I think there's, just like in the jungle, there are medicines that were discovered and are be discovered. And there's medicines in the ocean that are to be discovered, but we can't exploit those things, I think, unless we do it in a responsible manner. And I don't think that we can do it without a level of business understanding, without a level of understanding of the diplomatic issues associated, as well as the geopolitical aspects.